Hey guys, and welcome back to Dan's Pro Shop. One of the first videos here at the new place. Now I don't know exactly in the order things are going to come out, but this is just a taste. This is one of two, two outbuildings at the new property. This is just the smaller and easier one to try to get going at the moment. So we're here. But if you take a gander around here, this isn't exactly the most insulated building. I mean, yes, I got myself a pellet stove. This is a leftover from the previous shop, and thank goodness I have it. But this thing is struggling. I mean, struggling to heat up this pole building. I mean, it's basically just a pole building with sheeting, and there is some half-inch insulation in the walls, but dear me, it is 19 degrees here in Pennsylvania at the moment, and it's rough. So today, we are getting into a diesel heater. Now, just in case you have been living under a rock for any amount of time or haven't looked at Facebook or Instagram or YouTube in the last 6 years, these diesel heaters are really becoming a thing, and rightfully so. They are small, they are handy, you can use them pretty much anywhere, and they have multiple power sources that you can run them off of. This particular one from OutEquip is 12 volt DC or 120 volt AC. So it's super like across the board. You want to put this in a trailer, you want to put it in a camper, you want to run it in a shop, or whatever you got to do. They're super versatile, and they run off of regular diesel fuel. I mean, I choose off-road because it's $1 cheaper at the pump, but you do you. And I'm hoping that this is going to spice up, warm up the shop just a little bit. And I'm super excited to get into this thing and see what it's all about. Well, guys, that's the unboxing. And as far as instructions go, there aren't any. So we're just gonna wing this. And like for specs, I'm not really sure about specs for like BTU. I mean, we have fuel type diesel rated for 10 volts to 27 volts DC, 35 watts input power, heating capacity 5,000 watts. Well, I don't know if there's a conversion to BTU on that. I mean, wattage is an electric heater. Operating temperature -40 to 122 degrees Fahrenheit. Settings, you can do 46.5 degrees to 96.8 degrees Fahrenheit. And thermostat says it's available. Well, that's cool. But let's take a gander at this thing and see what it's all about. All right, so here we have the base unit. I mean, this is a self-contained machine. It does its own thing. So here on the top, here's that list I was reading off to you. We have our fuel fill control panel. Over here we have our inlet power. I'm assuming intake air. Nice little fuel gauge here. Exhaust air, well, I mean like heat exhaust. And then exhaust is here. But unlike a lot of these other diesel heaters where you'd have to like set them up on bricks or something because the exhaust is just straight out of the bottom, at least this one's like made so it can be sat on a flat surface and you don't really have to be concerned with the exhaust. Well, that being said, exhaust, we come here with a, I don't know, probably about a 2-foot piece of galvanized or tin or whatever this is, a muffler, the heat output pipe. We got a little diverter thing, maybe, if you just want to put this in the end of your pipe. 120 volt power adapter. Then we have our 12 volt power adapter with some hose clamps and even a remote. Like I mentioned, since there's no directions with this thing, I'm just gonna wing it. So this is like super Wild West, as much of a real review as you can get. Imagine just taking it out of the box and having no idea. That's exactly what we're doing right here. So I'm going to take myself, excusez-moi, some off-road diesel fuel, fill this thing up, put it together the way I feel it should be put together. We're going to use the 120 volt plug because that's more accessible here than 12 volt DC. Do a little bit of plumbing for the heat chamber exhaust and the ducting. And I'm just going to shove the exhaust under the garage door for now until I figure if this is suitable and like how to use it and I'm comfortable with it and everything. And maybe I'll make a more permanent fixture for it. But yeah, I'm going to put this thing together. So I guess for safety's sake, let's bring this guy down here. Check the tank. Doesn't seem to be any crud in there. Fill her up with some off-road. Try not to make a bloody mess in the process. We'll see how this goes. Oh, yeah. Oh, this is the good stock. This is regular on-road diesel. This ain't even off-road. This old girl's getting the good stuff right out of the gate. Well, let's be honest. It's the exact same fuel. It just costs $1 more a gallon. Man, these gas cans. Ugh. But they're safer. I spilled more fuel on myself using these safe cans than I ever did with the old death trap ones. Alright, we're going to call that good enough. That's about a full tank there. 5 liters, it says. Alright, we'll bring this back up to non-breaking your back height. Man, there's nothing to this. That's impressive. Wow, that's cool. Clean up the leftovers of my safety can here. Yeah, I don't know. Throw on some exhaust pipage here. Doesn't look like it really expands, just more so than bends. But whatever. Which way are we going here? This is going to be the heat out. So I'm going to want this to go this way. To go up under the garage door. Yeah, we're just going to slap this here muffler on here. Or exhaust pipe, whatever you want to call it. And we'll deal with the muffler later. Since it's going outside, I don't really care. We'll see if and when it's necessary anyhow. Alright, we'll call that good. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm just going to sneak this thing right out from underneath the door here. Boop. Now, plug in our 120 volt adapter. At least it's grounded, that's a plus. Slap this guy here in the back. Now I guess we'll just try to turn this thing on and see what happens. I'll bring you over so you can see the screen. I'm doing this for the first time, same as you, so. Oh. There we're doing something. Oh, it's clicking. You hear that? I'm guessing that means fuel pump. I don't know. Let's just hang out and watch this thing as it's doing its thing. I'll put the microphone over there so you can keep tabs on it with me. Seems like it's ramping up. fuel pump's going a little faster. The fan's kicking up a little faster. Man, it's blowing, but it's still cold. I don't think we've had any ignition yet. Oh, I think we finally have some ignition here. I can hear, like, the chamber going. Well, I can hear some fire anyway. You guys hear that? At least the exhaust pipe is getting warm, so something's happening. We're finally starting to get some warm. So apparently that's the key, is just be patient. You turn this thing on, it's got one of those clicky-clacky inline fuel pumps like, you know, everyone's bought from AutoZone over the years. Well, evidently on first start, that just takes a while. So just be really patient. It has to go through a couple cycles of that before it actually goes. And we're starting to get somewhere. Oh, that exhaust pipe gets hot in a hurry. Be nice if we could recycle that. I've seen people like plumb their exhaust pipes through an old cast iron radiator, so you're getting all of it. We're getting something here. Let me show you the exhaust outside. So there we are. I mean, that's just a bunch of condensation. Don't worry, it's not fuel. I give her the old taste test, but yeah, I mean, it has some noise to it, but it's not super loud. I'm sure that muffler would help. I mean, it's moving heat, and honestly, the noise isn't all that bad. Significantly better than a traditional torpedo heater. I mean, clearly not the output of a torpedo heater, but we're definitely outputting heat, and there's no stink either. So, like with the regular torpedo heater, you know, the output is the exhaust, so that's one giant plus of this thing. But boy, howdy, does that exhaust get hot. Just heads up on that one. It is cooking some heat. I guess we just let that thing go for a minute. So while that thing's over there chooching away, I did a little bit of digging online here, and I found some more specs on that since we were kind of lacking in the box. That it has an efficient diesel system that only consumes 0.2 to 0.4 liters per hour. So if you're running this thing at full tilt, half a liter an hour with a 5-liter fuel tank. Do the math there. It uses a glow plug ignition system, hence the lengthy startup, so just a heads up for that. And on your first startup, you need to prime the fuel system, so just anticipate a long start like we had here. Now the burn chamber on this thing apparently is 301 stainless, so hopefully that'll help a lot with cleanliness of this thing operating. Again, it rates the heating power at 5 kilowatts, overheat protection at 356 degrees. Net weight with a full tank is 17 pounds, so there's not much to it at all. And overall dimensions, 18.5 by 16.5 by 13.5. Other than that, there's really not all that much information. Really, you just plug it in and let it cook. This thing's been screaming for about 10-15 minutes. It is really cooking. Like, that's impressive. You can't leave your hand in front of it, or at least not for a horrifically long time anyhow. Like, that is that's pretty goddamn impressive how hot this thing gets, and like the small package that this is. So for like boondocking, especially, like, you can run this thing off of a car battery. That's pretty impressive. So you get yourself a gallon of diesel fuel and a car battery, and you can have this kind of heat anywhere for hours. This is a pretty gall-darn good setup here. Well, guys, we've had this thing chooching for, I don't know, half hour, 45 minutes now. And it's picked her up almost 15-20 degrees here. And yeah, I'm just going to let this keep going. I'll meet you over there for a recap. Hold up. So, guys, The OutEquip Pro diesel heater. I mean, these things are like kind of worth the hype that you've seen all over online. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this thing, you must be living under a rock if you haven't seen something online about these. And they are awesome. They're quiet, they're efficient. Now the exhaust pipe gets hotter than the gate of Hades, so just heads up on that. So like if you go through a wall or if you're using this for like a camper application or something, just do it appropriately because that exhaust pipe gets hot, hot. But it also outputs a lot of heat. And like everything you need is in the kit. And clearly you don't need instructions to get it going. You can just fumble through it like I did. So for a couple $100 to get this thing like completely, like you throw it in a shed and you can run it off its 12-volt car battery with a gallon of diesel fuel and you have hours of heat. This is a solid alternative than the stuff that we've been used to. You know, these big giant propane tanks, or, you know, you're lugging around a torpedo heater, or whether you need like a generator to run a traditional furnace or something like that. This is a solid option if you're just out there booning it. So, guys, can recommend. Please do. If you're interested, check out the links down in the description for this thing. Grab one for yourself, because I know I'm going to use the crap out of this thing, going between here and other places. And yeah, stay tuned because we're going other places. Please do check this thing out. We'll see you next time.